What's going on, everybody? Jack here from Half Chrome, and today we're talking about two of the best drones that you can buy right now. Now, both of these guys are awesome aerial photography machines. Right here in my right hand, I got the Autel Evo 2 Pro, and here in my left, I have the DJI Air 2S. Now, both of these guys have 1-inch sensors, some really impressive specs. Now, how do you know which one you should buy? Well, I want to break it down for you. Now you may be wondering, why am I not including the Mavic 2 Pro in this comparison? And there are a couple of reasons. Now that drone is a little bit older. It doesn't even shoot 4K 60. And I think in terms of value, this one here, the Air 2S, has got it beat. And I think the Evo 2 Pro has it beat in a handful of categories as well. Now these are the two drones you should probably consider if you're thinking about getting into aerial photography. So let's take a dive into which one is best for you. Now the first thing we need to talk about with both of these drones is the camera, and they're both pretty similar. They're both really impressive 1-inch sensors that shoot 20 megapixel stills. Now the top resolution here is 6K. What that really means is 5472 by 3076. And 6K is awesome because you can really do some zooming in and some really solid work in post-processing. And you're probably thinking 6K is better than 5.4K, which is the top resolution this shoots in. Oh, but no. The resolution you're shooting with the Air 2S is 5472 by 3078. It's the same. Actually, there's like 2 extra megapixels here. I don't know what that means, but yes, 5.4K, 6K, it's the same darn thing. However, I do think one of these is a little bit easier to edit, and that is this guy, the Evo 2 6K. Now, if you're gonna edit 6K video, you need a pretty fantastic machine in order to do so. That is, unless you're shooting with this guy. The Evo 2 Pro will also record proxy files at a lower resolution. I believe they're 720p. Takes a whole lot less memory on your computer to edit those files, and then you can kind of basically set up your whole shot and then replace it with the 4K footage. Now, Chris is going to walk you through how to do that in a video that he's producing actually right now. So stay tuned for that. Other things you want to know that are different in terms of these cameras, the Air 2S has a slightly wider field of view at 88 degrees versus 82 degrees on the Evo 2 Pro. You know, you can kind of just see, I kind of lined up a shot here in order to get the same or pretty darn close to the same shot. I had to really back the Evo 2 up a little bit further than the Air 2S. So just kind of know that, you know, maybe that field of view. Do you want a wider one? Do you not care? Something to think about. Also, the write speed is going to be a little bit different. You get 150 megabits per second versus 120 here with the Evo, but really that's pretty darn good either way. Now, there is one more advantage that the Evo 2 camera has over the Air 2S, and that is it has a variable aperture. So if you want to change your depth of field, you have f2.8 all the way up to f11 versus just a fixed f2.8 on the Air 2S. Both of these guys will shoot 10-bit color. You can take raw photos and you can record in log. So if you want to do your post-processing and add the colors that you want, you can certainly do that. I'm going to let you guys kind of compare the out-of-the-box colors with some of these videos here. All right, so let's take a look at some footage coming out of these drones. First up is the Air 2S. Now, I'm shooting this in 5.4K/6K. It's kind of a drab, overcast day, so that's a little disappointing. But you can kind of see what the colors look like. And it's kind of a neat little shot here as I kind of go up and then rise out. Now I'm going to kind of replicate that same shot here with the Evo 2. Now I'm recording in quote-unquote 6K. Remember, 5.4K, 6K, it's all the same. I'm not sure, you know, who does the math and the rounding up, but this is 6K footage coming from the Evo. Now here's another shot coming from the Air 2S. Just going to fly over these trees here. And I did turn the obstacle avoidance off, so I was most definitely paying attention here. And now I'm going to replicate that same shot with the Evo Pro. Now just keep in mind, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to be compressed. Now these were shot in 6K, but I can only render it and upload it into YouTube in 4K. So that's what you're watching. So it's kind of been downscaled just a little bit. So this is standard out of the box color. Now I've got side by side, I'm doing a little orbit here of this beautiful house. No, it's not my own. Now the DJI Quick Shot here is limited to 4K, whereas the Evo is in there, quote unquote, 6K. But you can kind of see the color comparisons, and I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to which ones you like best. Now in terms of camera, they're pretty darn comparable, but I'd probably give the edge to the Evo just because it has that variable aperture. All right, so let's talk about some of the different specs that these guys have. Flight time, range, stuff like that. Now when we talk about range, the Air 2S is unbelievable. You're talking about a 12,000 meter range. That's 7.5 miles. Now, no, you're not going to fly this thing 7.5 miles away, but just the clarity and the fidelity of the video feed coming back to you is second to none. This is awesome. This is by far the best drone in terms of image transmission I've ever flown. But that doesn't mean this is a slouch. At 9,000 meters or about 5.5 miles, you get pretty solid range out of this thing as well. Where the Evo 2 really kind of takes the cake is in flight time. This is a 40-minute flight time. Yeah, it's a bigger drone, it's got a bigger battery, and it can fly a little bit longer. But this little guy can stay in the air for 31 minutes. That's also pretty darn impressive. The Air 2 is slightly slower with a top speed of 42.5 miles an hour versus 45 miles an hour with the Evo 2 Pro. So in terms of specs, I'm going to call this one a draw, with the Evo getting the flight time and the Mavic Air getting the range. Okay, let's talk about some of the safety features built into these drones. Right here on the arm of the Air 2S, it says ADS-B. Now, this thing will sense when there are other aircraft in the area and you'll get a warning. That is a fantastic safety feature, right? So if there's a plane flying overhead and I don't see it, a lot of times this thing will, and it'll let me know that it's in the air. You're not getting ADS-B on this Evo. Now, one of the things that Autel pilots love about this guy is that there is no geo-fencing. That means it's up to the pilot to be responsible about where they fly. If you're outside of an airport, but you're just on the edge and DJI thinks that you're inside, you can't fly. You have total control and responsibility of how and when to fly your Evo. For a lot of people, that is absolutely a game changer and a deal breaker for some DJI products. Now, the last safety thing I want to talk about is obstacle avoidance. Now, some people say, I don't use obstacle avoidance, but it has come in handy on occasion. The Evo here has full 360-degree obstacle avoidance. You got 2 sensors in the front, 2 on the top, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 in the back, and 2 on the bottom. That is 12 cameras keeping a lookout for things coming your way. Now the Air 2S does also have obstacle avoidance. We got 2 sensors kind of on the top, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 2 on the bottom. Where it's lacking, and I think this is where obstacle avoidance is most important, is on the side. Right? A lot of times you'll hit objects as you're flying backwards or sideways because you can't see them, right? I don't often run into things flying forward because I can see them through this camera here. So just note that the Evo does have more sensors and better obstacle avoidance. So in terms of safety, I really like the ADS-B. I'm not big on the obstacle avoidance, so that doesn't matter to me, and geofencing hasn't been an issue. So I'm gonna give the edge here because I love that ADS-B to the DJI product. However, a lot of people are saying, you know what, I don't care. I don't want geofencing, give me the Evo. It's really kind of a personal preference at that point. Okay, so let's talk about design. We've got 2 foldable drones here, and one is substantially larger than the other. Yeah, this Evo is a beast. And kind of along with that, you get a little bit of street cred if you roll up to something with a larger drone. I know people that actually bring an Inspire on shoots and then kind of take it out and leave it on the trunk of their car while they fly their Mavics. Yeah, that's a real thing. So some people just kind of like the larger drone, but there is absolutely something to be said for a smaller quad like this one. Now this orange color is awesome and easy to spot in the sky. I'm a big fan of it. But I get it if you're not keen of a giant flying pumpkin. You would think this big old behemoth was louder, but this is actually the quieter of the 2 drones. So that's kind of an interesting point. Just kind of the way they designed everything allows this to be a quieter machine. While we're talking about design, might as well talk about the 2 remotes. Starting with the Air 2 remote, it's pretty compact, it's square, it's basically a brick. right? You pull the sticks out from underneath, they screw in up here. You pull this out, this is your antenna, and your phone goes up top. Pretty basic design, works well. You can even charge your phone in here because of this giant battery. Now the Evo remote is a little different. This is actually the same remote that shipped with the Evo 1. You've got a color LCD screen here with some telemetry information, so you don't just have to rely on your smartphone. In fact, this color screen will double as a video screen, so if you forget your cable, or maybe your cable doesn't work or it breaks, that's happened to me, you can still get your bird up in the air. There are some customizable buttons on the back here, but a lot of people have problems accidentally hitting them. Now, I actually do like the fit and feel of this remote, but for some reason, a lot of people happen to not like it. Your phone obviously goes up top here, and these sticks don't come out, so you kind of have to be a little bit more careful when you're putting it away. Now, when you're going to store it, this phone holder does just flip over like that, and it does serve to protect the sticks just a little bit. Now, if you're not a big fan of these remotes, both DJI and Autel make smart remotes with built-in screens, so you can add that after the fact, but they'll cost you a pretty penny as well. So this is the bag that comes with the Air 2S if you get the Fly More combo, and it's pretty darn small. Fits right over your shoulder, easy to take with you, right? There's no way you could get this giant orange beast in something like that, could you? Or could you? Yeah, it does fold up, right? It is definitely larger, it's definitely heavier, but if you get the on-the-go, I believe that's what their package is called, the extra battery, you get a case like this, which is nice and small too. Not quite as small, but still fairly compact and easy to take with you if you travel. All right, so let's talk about flight modes. They have pretty much all of the flight modes you probably want. They both do orbit, follow me, hyperlapse, stuff like that. And where they differ is, the DJI product has kind of built in some quick shots here that are really good for beginning photographers, right? So the quick shots, things like the droney and the rocket, and even now the master shots where it does a bunch of really cool shots and kind of stitches them together for you, that is really a valuable tool for a beginner pilot. Now there's no droney or rocket on this guy, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like that's kind of a staple move. Now where this guy shines is that it has waypoints or mission planning. That is a big deal for a lot of people, and you can't do that on the Air 2S. Now there's one really important category that you have to consider, and that is price. The Air 2S starts at $999, so for $1,000 you can get one of these. Now the Fly More combo with the bag, the filters, and a couple of batteries is going to cost you $1,300. This is substantially less expensive. The Evo 2 here, I've seen it recently for about $1,500, which is actually a discount. I do think the price on this is starting to come down a little bit. Now, if you want an on-the-go package, bag, battery case, all that extra stuff coming along with it, now that's going to cost you closer to $2,000. So yeah, this is a bigger, probably more capable machine, and with that comes a few extra dollars on that price tag. So at the end of the day, the question is which one is better? And actually, there isn't a right answer, or maybe there isn't a wrong answer. They're both excellent machines. They both take excellent pictures and video. The question is, which is the better machine for you? Now, I can't answer that question for you. Hopefully, this video did a little bit of that. Now, which drone do I choose? Well, actually, I typically will grab the Air 2S. I feel more confident and familiar with the software on the DJI products. However, Chris almost always will grab the big orange pumpkin here. So we're kind of split on which one we prefer. Either way, they're both fantastic drones. We hope this was helpful. If you don't already subscribe to the channel, we'd love for you to consider doing so. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If not, thumb this thing down, tell us what we did wrong, and we'll do better next time. Now, if you're thinking about buying something you saw in the video today, consider using one of the links in the video description down below. They are affiliate links and they help support this channel so we can continue to make content for you. Don't forget, we also have a website where we get even more in-depth about some of the products that we talk about here on the channel. And we have a Patreon where we give away a drone once a month to a lucky Patreon subscriber. And don't forget about our live streams where we give away things and have a whole lot of fun. We hope to see you back here again. Hey, good luck everyone, and happy flying.